Hey, good morning. Welcome to Sports Talker. I'm your host, Chris Raynor. Friday, July the 4th. Happy birthday, America. Anyone at the table, real quick? No, I'm going to put Eddie on the spot. What is our anniversary this year, Eddie?
149?
249.
249.
1776 to 20, what is next year? 2026. That's the way I do it. 250, and then I take away one. I try to tell my kids in math, do the big number and then take away a little if you need to, instead of trying to crunch those funky numbers.
Obviously,
like
you're not a math teacher.
Oh, no.
or a history teacher.
No.
History.
Oh, yeah. The history
should have
part,
known
yeah.
that.
So 1776, when this great country got started. Next year will be our 250th birthday celebration. I think the country, with the guy that's in charge, and I'm not getting any politics, but with the guy that's in charge up there, I'm thinking we're probably going to have a pretty good
I think the Marines 250 is also next year.
It is next year, correct.
That's how I know.
Just had the Army's 250th this year. So, yeah, a lot of great stuff going on in our country. Looking forward to the big celebration next year. Celebrating today, though, with the Richlands Wildcats. Coach Bill Good, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I did get that name right. Do you go by Bill or William? Or Billy
Bill,
or Mac
William.
or Buddy? Or
I mean, it just depends who you ask. I've known the kids a long time. So when we were at Rec League, it was Coach Billy.
That's not what they call you as far as you know, though. I'll tell you later the names I've heard.
Right. They've been talking to my wife too much.
Bill Good, right?
What's your wife call you? That's the most important name.
Honey.
Honey. Okay.
Babe.
All right. Babe Good. And you have your assistant with you today, Eddie Floyd, who goes by several names. We're going to go with Eddie. John also.
Yes.
People may know you. Most people know you as Eddie, though.
Correct.
Now, you guys, how long have you been around Richlands area?
I bought a house 2008. I was still in the Marine Corps.
You may remember. You ever heard of a guy out there named Doodad?
Vaguely.
He was legendary chain crew
Toot
guy
and tell
for
it.
Doodad, yes.
Toot and tell it.
I don't even remember what his real name was, though, but I remember one time there was a deputy that had a paper on, nothing bad. It was like a subpoena because he was a witness or something. And they went looking for him at the Toot and Tell It and said his name. They said, nobody there. It says, oh, you mean Doodad. So, everybody's got a little nickname. You're not Doodad or anything like that. So, Bill Good and Eddie Floyd, welcome to be with us today. Obviously, you're the head coach now, Bill. Congratulations.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Named, what, about 3 weeks ago, a month ago?
Roughly about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. And you both been with the program for a good while. How long have you been with the Richlands program?
This could be my 10th year. I started with Coach Boley.
I got some Bowley stories for you.
I can only imagine. Then moved on when Coach Pat Bird took over.
Yep.
So they kept me on staff.
So Bird was right after Gene then, right?
He was.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And Eddie, how long have you been with the program there?
This will be my third year coming up.
We were talking in the lobby. You've been around the game a long time. So we're going to get into all that in a minute. I do want to talk about our fine sponsors because they're what makes this scintillating discussion we have possible. National Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, the Jacksonville Ospreys, CNS Paint, Ron Choate and Victor Case. By the way, the Jacksonville Ospreys hosting that All-Star game last week. That was amazing. Awesome game and everything. Golden Corral, Mr. Billy Sewell, Rock Creek Golf and Country Club, Jones Onzo EMC, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative, Jones LP Gas, located in Verona. On Fridays you can get your cylinder filled there for $11.
I bet they're busy today.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go on the 4th, but every Friday it's $11. So normally those things are 20, 25, $30.
It's a good deal.
So check them out in Verona for $11 every Friday. Southern Touch Painting, Fountain Management, Miss Sandra Fountain. Onslow County Motor Company, Ben Beasley in the gang. Barnes Diamond Gallery. Lane Associates Family Dentistry, Doctors Tommy and Kim Morgan. Bartley Insurance Services, Mr. Bill Mercer. Y'all know Bill up around Richlands way, don't you?
We do.
He's a great Richlands guy. Humphrey Heating and Air Conditioning. And then our segment sponsors are our Racing Report is powered by Onslow County Motor Company, Ben Beasley and the gang. And, of course, the Jacksonville Ospreys Report, powered by Downey's Heating and Air Conditioning. And we do want to thank Billy Grissett. You guys got into the food before we started, right?
We did. We did. It was
we
really
had
good.
him bring lunch stuff for breakfast every now and then, even though it's 9 o'clock. We'll have him bring fried bologna sandwiches today. He brought some cheeseburgers too. So we had all kinds of good stuff out there. Thank you to Helen's Kitchen and Billy Grissett for feeding us. We do want to mention our like what do they call social platforms?
Yep.
You have YouTube. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at WSME Radio. On Facebook, you can follow us at Freedom 97.1 WSME. And Hollywood gave you guys the slips to get to all your family and everything, so they can watch the archive version, the podcast version. You can also listen online, stream or live, and catch up with the podcast at WSME971.com. And our studio line is 910-346-2248. My favorite social platform is FM radio or AM. I still listen to the radio. Are you guys radio guys or
Yes.
All the time.
I mean,
All the time.
I see kids nowadays. All they listen to is the same stuff off their phone over and over. I love the DJs like Hollywood that surprise me with a song that I haven't heard in years that I wouldn't have thought to listen to. You know,
Hollywood was a DJ.
Hollywood is a DJ.
Oh, he is a
Hollywood
DJ?
does everything.
I
man.
thought he was our production guy.
He is, but during the day he's spinning them stacks of wax. You ain't heard that in a long time, have you?
No,
Hollywood?
man.
Did you ever actually do records?
When I first started, yeah.
Or was it all cassette and stuff like
1989 was like the last year, and we had these cart machines where you played commercials, and it was an art back then, man, because you had to back time into stuff, and yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was totally different.
A whole
yeah.
different dynamic.
Yeah,
Now
Farley,
computers have
I'm still on the air in the afternoons in this radio station.
Yeah, you guys
I know you
still
are.
listen to some,
Yanking your chain.
Come on, man.
He's yanking your
I'm
chain.
just joking. Yeah.
All right, well, let's jump right into Richlands High School football. Man, it won't be long. What is this? July 4th, another month, August 1st, and then games will be, the 22nd, I think, is opening night.
22nd, correct.
JV will be the 21st. So tell us a little bit. First of all, Coach Floyd, what is your, we know, Coach Good is the head coach. What's your official title and duties out there?
Whatever needs to get done.
Chief,
No,
chief
whatever he
cook
needs
and
me to
bottle
do.
washer, yeah.
Yeah, whatever he needs me to do.
What is his title?
It's very fluid at this point. Eddie's been a huge help, instrumental of
Yeah, the
trying
transition
to
and everything.
well that and offense, figuring out what offense is going to fit our guys the best. Whether he wants to stay JV head coach like he was last year. We talked about offense coordinator for varsity as well.
That's tough to do both of those at the same time.
It is. So we talk, and the communication between us is really good. And we're here for the kids. So whatever title he has, he's going to pour everything into it.
Okay.
So
Hey, Chris, I was on the football staff last year too. You just didn't know it.
Were you?
Yeah, I
What-
ran
what
the
the heck
40-second play clock for about 4 games.
Did you get revoked or something?
No, I did every game when he asked me. I didn't start out doing it. I guess whoever was doing it.
Oh, that's true. They only have like about 5 home games.
They have
Yeah.
5 home games. Yeah, I did every
'Cause
game
the
but
other
the
games
White
were on the
Oak
road,
game.
yeah.
I had a prior event. I couldn't do that
Okay.
game, but
I didn't know if you're
that's a lot of pressure. I didn't realize. I'd rather ref a high school basketball game than try to
Thank you.
do that
I'm
because
so glad you said that because I'm going to tell a story. My first meeting with Mr. Farley, I'd seen him on the basketball court for years, refereeing games for the last 50, 70 years, something
I ain't
like
that old, man.
Well,
Come on.
So I'd seen him on the court reffing games. Well, Southwest, I'm a Southwest guy, of course, and Hurricane Florence rolled through and sucked the top off our gym. So we had to play games down at Dixon High School. So I'm running the scoreboard down there. I guess the one that did it at home didn't want to go to Dixon, so they asked me if I did. And I said, sure. How hard can it be? Well, it's not hard unless you like to watch the game, which I do. Next thing I know, I'm sitting there and the clock's still running and I'm watching the play, or the clock hasn't started. About the third time he runs by the score table and said, look, buddy, clock's the most important thing we got. I went, yes, sir. And I started minding the clock a little better. So I didn't get revoked, but I learned how to actually, and it got to where when you're running the clock, when you would start it, you would sit there and you look up 3 times to make sure it was started. Like a check, or same thing with stopping it or the score. And it's a lot to
see
it.
the
isn't
bad
it?
part about that when you're screwing up, the fans are mad at the refs. They ain't mad at you. They're mad at the refs, and I don't have anything to do
That's
with it.
true. And so you got me in line there, and I appreciate it. The play clock, there's a different thing because it's different for different scenarios. Give everybody the play clock rundown. It's 40 seconds most of the time, right?
yes, sir.
What is the difference with the 25? Is that after a whistle or a dead
penalty.
ball or something, or a penalty?
It is. Yes,
An
sir.
injury, a penalty,
Yeah.
to start a quarter. Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta be. I say,
You gotta be on your
There's
game.
a lot of pressure. I was worried I'd mess up, and I only think I messed up one time.
And I know coming from an officiating standpoint, you would never say this, but a lot of refs are different the way they do it, the way they put their hand up, the way they start it. And some of them, they expect you just to do it on your own, and some don't. And so you got to kind of feel out each ref, each game to see which one has got that play clock started, because it is very important. You guys run it at Richlands, right?
Correct.
There's some schools don't.
Yeah,
And some schools do that on purpose.
There's a lot of times too that it won't turn on, or it won't turn on,
Yeah.
or we don't use it sometimes because people don't know how to use it the right way.
Well,
so
I think I did 4 of the 5 games.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
3 of the 5 games.
Or we have staff. Yeah.
Yeah,
somebody
one
to
I
do it.
couldn't do it because I had a prior engagement. And it's funny, Mike Kelly, he says, you know how to run the 40-second play clock? The first time I was there at a game, my granddaughter Ashley graduated last year. She was a cheerleader.
Okay,
She
awesome.
was captain on the cheerleading team. So the last 4 years, I've missed 3 Richlands football games. So I've been from the beginning to the end. And Mike Kelly goes, you know how to run a 40-second play clock? I'm like, I don't know, man. I've never done it, but I know a little bit about football rules, just going to games. So I said, he wanted me to do it that night. I said, look, my wife don't come to many games. She's at the game tonight. I said, if I go up, sit in this press box and run that clock, and I'm not sitting with her, I'm gonna bet she's gonna be mad at me when I get home.
Probably.
So I need to sit with her this football game, and then I'll do it the next game. So I
Yeah.
did it like next 3 or 4.
Let me marinate on it just a little bit. Now,
so
are
I
you gonna be
did
doing
it.
it this coming year?
I don't know if Mike Kelly would ask me, I would probably do it for him. Even though my
Good
daughter
deal.
graduated, I'd still.
Yeah, you've got it in your blood now. It's
Well,
you
I
know
mean-
the lick now.
I mean, it's not. Once you learn how to do it, it's okay. But
Yeah.
He couldn't even come to the basketball games but to watch a basketball game.
I know. The same thing
He
happened.
ended up on
Same
the
thing
clock.
happened.
They
Beginning-
put you on the clock.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
beginning of the season, he goes, "Hey, and God bless Mr. Jim. He's been doing it for a long time." And I said,
that
"Mike,
Jim
I do-
Joyner?
yeah, I don't want to take his job, man. He's a legend at Richlands. I don't want to take his job, but I will be the backup if he can't come." So I went and did a JV game with the young guy that did JV, and he knew how to do it. So I said, "Let me come in. If I mess up, let's mess up at the JV game." So I did the JV game with him. This ain't too bad. And then the very next Friday, Jim's not coming. I get a text from AD Mike Kelly. Hey, can you run the clock Friday? I'm like, yeah, no problem. So I
You're
did.
talking for basketball, right?
Basketball.
So
yeah.
it is a lot harder than it looks, isn't it?
Well, it's not. I mean, it's not that hard. It's got the button starts.
I didn't use
stop.
the button.
Yeah, there's
the
a
button was freaking me out. So I was just
the
pressing
problem
thing
I
on
was
the
having is
scoreboard.
pushing the buttons, putting the wrong foul on the wrong team when you hit the wrong button and you have to go back. So
Yeah, or score. And the worst thing is you go to add the score and you do it on the wrong one. Then
Yeah.
you got to back
Did
up
that
and
too.
remember.
Oh,
and
the
add to
parents
the
will let
other
you
while
too.
the clock's going on.
yeah,
Parents will let you know,
You do
yeah.
that,
Quick.
everybody in the gym's going nuts. So,
They'll let you know in a heartbeat.
But I did
yeah.
5 or 6 basketball games as a fill-in. Mr. Jim's does a great job. He's the announcer at football games.
Oh, he's
so
been
I'm
on this
not
for
taking
years.
his job.
Drives bus and everything. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He is the chief cook and bottle washer. He does everything. I remember him calling some of those legendary games. They used to have an internet platform years ago. What was that thing on the National High School Broadcasting Network or something? And Richlands had a thing on there. Him and Donnie Moretti called that legendary game back in 2003. The Halloween game where both teams 10-0, Southwest and Richlands. It was like 5,000 people that game. You remember that game? It was just people were parked down at West Park. And the game was at Richlands. No, I'm kidding. The game was at Southwest, but they were parked down at West Park, and it was crazy. I'd hate to know I had to walk a half a mile for a high school football game, but it was like that. And we've had a lot of games in this county now. Coming into this season, obviously a transition, new coach and everything. But you've been on staff have you been there for actually 10 years? Or
I
just in
started coaching in 2016, so this would be roughly my 10th year.
coaching? Okay. And so
Coaching.
Coach Boley was the coach then, or was it some before?
It was
him?
Coach Boley. He just took over. It was his first year there.
Is he still coaching anywhere, or is he just done with it?
He actually died this past January.
Did he?
He
I'm
did.
sorry to hear that. I had not heard that.
He went out to Wisconsin. Him and another assistant coach we had on staff to go to a military school to coach football.
Coach, I can see him being good at a military school.
So that's his bread and butter. He loves it, you know.
yeah.
So, but yeah, he passed away in January, and our other assistant guy that was here, Coach Justin Ramon, took over the head spot out there.
Well, do you remember the infamous onside kick game against Southwest? It was not an onside kick.
It was supposed to be a pooch kick,
Exactly.
but
He
it turned
missed
into
it.
he did.
That or
miss
the
it.
ball started falling. See, it happens. And the next day, I was in the Walmart in Richlands, and I encountered Gene Boley. I'm like, what in the world? And he comes up to me and just everybody in Walmart. It's like we're on a stage and everybody's listening because he had that voice, and he didn't pull any punches. You could hear him in the entire store. It was like he was on the PA, and people just started gathering around us to hear the tale of. It wasn't an onside kick, and we kind of could tell because the way they were dropping back, it was obvious that it wasn't intended to be an onside kick.
No, it plagues me all
Yeah.
the time. Even the
It was
next
just
morning.
a miss. Yeah.
You weren't special teams coach, were you?
I was not. No, I was defense coordinator at that time. So.
Well, for those that don't know the story, basically, Southwest either tied it up or gotten close. I think they tied it up maybe, and the next kick was supposed to be a pooch kick to kind of try, run out the clock. Well, it ended up being an onside kick, giving Southwest the ball, further up than what it should have been.
I think we were in 2018
Yeah.
at that point, and there was like 15 seconds left.
Right. So you just wanted to get out the
Pooch
clock.
it, run the clock out, have to play a little prevent defense, and seal the deal.
Well, probably shouldn't say that. Well, no, I won't say that, but I will say that. Coach, one of the things he said in there was, and then I got this ex-coach that started with me at the start of the year behind me in the stands. Had to let him go because he told a story about him. Like, that's more information than I needed. And I won't say the story, but man, he was just a great guy. I mean, he was fun to listen
networking. I mean, Bill, what do you need? Bill, who do you? I'll call this person, call that person.
Yeah.
Couldn't drive worth beans, but
yeah.
Talking to people.
He wasn't real good on social media either, was he?
He loved going on social media.
Oh, did he?
I don't know if he was very good at it, but he loved going on it.
He's sitting on his computer doing everything instead of the phone like everybody else does. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, he used to play poker games and word games, and I met this person from the District of Columbia. Well, I was like, "What are you doing?" I mean,
Yeah.
So, no, he was a great guy. He's surely missed.
Tell him, look, Gene, when a lady sends you a friend request and she's got 2 other friends, it's probably a fake account. Don't answer it. I'm not saying he would, but I'm just saying that's just the general rule. But then Coach Bird took over what year, roughly about? Has he been there 3 years now or 5 years?
No, he 5 years.
5 years. Because I say 3 because I know the winning streak is 3 years now over Southwest, but there was a couple years they didn't play because of the plague.
COVID and everything, it got cut short. We didn't play in the fall, and then we played in the spring, and it was a short season. So, I think he was 5 years.
Yeah. Well, you were on the staff, and he was the head coach where the dreaded streak was broken. Now there's a 3-year winning streak against Southwest. Have they put up a Pat Bird statue?
Well, that's what we always told Coach Boley. All you got to do is win the Southwest game, and you're sure a lot.
3 years in a row, I think you're a lock to get a statue.
And then, Coach Bird came in. We couldn't do it. Boley, Bird came in, and we did it.
Yeah.
And I was like, where are they going to put the statue?
So now he's dropped the mic and said, I'm not doing another one. I'm 3-0. I'm out.
And that's he went out on a good note with them. So
We'll wish him luck at Jacksonville as going back as assistant coach.
Yeah, this past senior
taking a break
class,
from
undefeated against Southwest.
Yeah,
it is. Yep, exactly
that's
right.
true.
Because they didn't play 4 years ago.
Well, this year it's going to be a little different. Conferences are a little different. You guys are pretty much in the same conference as last year, right? What's the changes?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, no.
Just,
Havelock's
there's
coming
two.
in.
There's 2 changes. We don't have.
You don't
Northside.
have White Oak and Swansboro. Oh, you have Swansboro.
We have
You don't have
Swansboro.
White Oak.
We don't have White Oak. We're still going to play them for a non-conference.
That's right. Northside's staying in, right?
But Northside's coming in because we didn't play them last
That's
year.
right. They were in the Jacksonville.
So the 2 new ones are Havelock and Northside.
Ouch. That's
And they
not too
lost
good
White
ones
Oak.
to roll in.
No, those are the right before we actually have our bye week. We go into Havelock, Northside back to back, and then we get a break after our non-conference schedule.
Oh, wow.
Havelock's
So-
obviously one of the top dogs in this area. Some of those matchups with Jacksonville over the last few years have been legendary. The one last year in the playoffs where Havelock, they were killing them. And then Jacksonville just caught fire in the second half behind
No, not last
DeMond
year.
June.
Jacksonville was up 14-0 last year.
At halftime?
No, they first 2 possessions, Havelock fumble, Jacksonville
But
got
then
it.
Havelock was up like 28-14 at the half
Yeah,
or something.
Yeah, they were up at halftime. But
That's what I mean. At
Jacksonville came
halftime,
back.
they were ahead, and then all of a sudden, Jacksonville reeled off like 5 straight touchdowns or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, great game. And those 2 teams have been legendary for having regular season game and then playoff game same year. A lot of times it was the same way with Southwestern Richlands. They meet regular season and then playoffs, and it's just funny. Same thing with East Duplin and you guys.
So who's your non-conference teams next year?
We got Southwest, White Oak, East Duplin, and South Brunswick.
So only 4.
Yes.
Are you in a 7-team conference?
We are
Okay.
because they moved Swansboro down
Yeah.
Right.
into our conference.
So you don't have Princeton. I know you played them a few times.
Yeah, we 2 years ago was the last time we played them.
No, you played them
Last year.
You beat them
Played them
last
last
year
year?
at their place, yeah.
Yeah.
So
At turf field.
what did you think of their
Yes.
facilities? They got nice facilities.
They do.
I'm not a big fan of turf, but their facilities are great.
The kids, they get into it, they're like, oh, turf, this is awesome, until they fall down and start getting
Get a
turf
little
burn.
skin.
And South Brunswick's got turf too.
They do.
Yeah, all the Brunswick County schools do now.
Yeah, they do.
We're going to take our first break. When we come back, we'll get more into, we'll have our quick race report, and then we'll have more Richlands High School football. We'll be right back on Sports Talk. Hey, welcome back to Sports Talk. I'm your host, Chris Raynor. It's Friday, July the 4th. Happy birthday, America. 249 years, still going strong. 250th celebration will be next year, so we're going to have a good time with it next year, I'm sure. Unless it's leap year, it should be on a Saturday next year, which that could be the perfect storm. 250th birthday of America on Saturday, July the 4th. That could be pretty interesting. So looking forward to that already. The NASCAR boys were at Atlanta last week. They're headed to Chicago this week. And that's the main reason I want to talk about this week. How do you, Robert Farley, you're a NASCAR guy or have been in the past. How do you not have the Firecracker 400 on 4th of July weekend?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Daytona. I mean, that's where they always
You know
were
the
for
thing about
years.
that race? It always rains in July.
Maybe
That
that's
race
why
is
they didn't do it.
always delayed. I've been to that race one time where they were racing at 2 in the morning.
But you're
Because of
sitting,
rain.
yeah, and that's true. And but you're talking about an iconic track like Daytona for the 4th of July, and now you're going to a street race in Chicago.
It's just like they moved, Darlington used to be the Labor Day.
Yeah, but they finally
staple.
brought it back.
Yeah, finally, but they moved it. And
Well,
gave
they
it to
realized
California.
that was a mistake. Yeah, California. You took it from Darlington on Labor Day weekend, where there was, thousands of fans and just the atmosphere, to a Chicago track where you might have 700 people show up, and it was more than that, but
Yeah.
it didn't look like much
It's
more.
that corporate sponsorship money.
I guess.
And TV, they drive everything.
The Chicago street races this coming weekend. I assume it's Sunday. Yeah, Sunday, July the 6th. So the NASCAR boys, the point standing. Of course, William Byron's still leading the point standing. He's got such a lead that probably in the next couple of weeks he could finish last 2 weeks in a row and still be the leader.
It doesn't really matter because of the way their new point system is.
Yeah, they do
They
some
do a
kind of
playoff.
funky
They do
thing with the playoff. Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you get in the playoffs, I think you're okay.
Yeah.
Which that's got to where we want to thank, before we leave the racing report, Onslow County Motor Company, Ben Beasley and the gang for sponsoring our racing report. They do a great job with it, and they can get you any kind of car you want down there. Just go see them at OCMC.
I bet they have race
get your
cars
car.
too. He could probably get you a race car if you
He
really
can get
wanted
you whatever
one.
you want. He can get you something to go fast, a truck, an SUV. I've drove for him some, and they get some nice
I
cars.
thought he
down
got
there.
you a Mini Cooper one time. Weren't you driving downtown in a Mini Cooper?
He did. Now don't
No back seat. You had to take the back seat out, right?
Yeah, like Bubba Smith in Police Academy,
Yeah.
rip out the front seat. But I knocked that thing, and it's small and everything. But when I went to pass a car on the way home, I don't know what that thing's got in it. Well, first of all, it weighs about 87 pounds. So it had a 4-cylinder turbo. That thing would fly. I mean, as far as like getting up to about 60, as fast as anything
It's
I've
still
seen.
amazing to me that he lets you go pick up cars for him.
I know.
I got to have a conversation with
Very
Ben.
dependable.
I might-
Hundreds of cars I brought
I
back.
might see him next
I haven't
week.
cracked up one
Hundreds?
yet. Hundreds, and I haven't
Hundreds?
cracked up one
Okay.
yet. Yep. I'm a very good driver, thank you. I do it better than I do the clock at
I
basketball.
don't know. You
games.
scared me one night.
Were you riding with me?
Yeah, I think I was.
Oh, we must have gone to Kinston to the
Kinston game.
Yeah, the game. How did I scare you? Was that car I passed and then
But that
listened to
texting
deer?
and driving is illegal in North Carolina.
Oh, I don't do that.
And doing Facebook posts and
Yeah,
videos
that's
and all that
against
kind
the
of
law.
stuff.
It's against the law.
And then he's
I don't
passing
do
a
it.
car on 258,
Well, they have passing lanes.
barely.
We were talking the other day. Y'all remember the old Highway? You don't remember this, if y'all haven't been in the area that long, but the old Highway 17 passing lanes
Oh,
between
yeah.
here and Holly
Mhm.
Ridge.
Oh, yeah.
I
It was
do.
basically a head-on collision waiting to happen. You had 3 lanes, and you would get a passing lane for you for a little while, and then it would switch back to one, and the other one would have a 2-lane passing lane coming at you. So you had 2 people passing at the last minute coming head on.
Jesus.
It was not an engineering marvel.
And you rode in the back of a pickup truck as a kid, and you're still here today, so
and liked it.
and liked it.
Drank water from a hose. Now you guys at practice, do you have water buffaloes at practices?
We do.
Okay.
We do. We have
had
hoses around
PVC
too.
pipe on the wall with a garden hose.
We did that first couple years with Boley.
Yeah.
Put it right there on the fence because we were our soccer team
Yep.
practices.
And you just got wet all down front of you, but
They made
you were
us
wet
bring our
anyway from
own
sweat.
water for practice when I played football back in the late 70s.
Did you have to pump it out of the ground?
No, we brought our own water jug. I would take I ain't that old. We got the old milk jug and
Yeah.
put it in the freezer with ice and filled it with water and then took it to practice. It lasted the whole time. We did 2 a days. I mean, man,
Oh yeah.
today's players are a little softer.
Well, a lot of the restrictions
I
on
know.
them, they're making them that way. I mean, as far as what they can or can't do, the wet bulb. Oh my gosh, is that not your favorite thing?
Oh,
If that thing is a
we can
certain
play in the
thing-
heat, but we can't practice in it.
Right.
So it makes sense.
So do you
Lot of
guys? What's your plan for the fall? You can do morning practices or evening?
Oh,
Obviously, you're not doing it at 1 o'clock because you won't be able to practice. 'cause of the wet
No,
bulb.
no, we're gonna try to transition into the evening. when we can. I like to say the beginning of August,
Yeah.
so they can get acclimated. But again, the wet ball is not going to allow us to get it out too much. So we're going to practice probably in the morning. Probably with
I
the
think
first
most
week.
have got to where they do that now. It's a good thing because you're still in summer where it gives the kids the rest of the day to work,
Correct.
or play video games or whatever, go to the beach, and the coaches time to do stuff. Plus, too, you're guaranteed or probably being able to get the practice in.
Absolutely.
No thunderstorms, or not as many. You transition, most of them will transition to the afternoon later in the practice because you're getting close to where they'll be in school, and they'll be after school anyway. So, yeah, that's a good way to do it. What's your opening with Southwest this year? It's at Southwest, correct?
Out Southwest.
Have you got your schedule? Do you know it by heart?
I do.
Okay. What's your next game up?
White Oak after Southwest.
Is that one at White Oak or home?
It is
Yes, should be.
at, I believe so.
Well, really, the home and away. That's not as crucial. But so you played them though the last few years of conference, and now they're all of a sudden non-conference. It's not like a new opponent. Have you got anybody new on the non-conference schedule that you haven't played?
We haven't played Havelock in quite a few years.
Well, they'll be conference. Yeah.
Their conference. On non-conference, no. It's
What about who's your third game non-conference?
we're East Duplin,
East Duplin. So another one right down the road. Yeah.
And then
who's the last one?
South Brunswick.
South Brunswick.
We've been playing them for the last couple of years, so
But they weren't conference. They were just non-conference.
just non-conference.
Now, last year's game, I remember looking at it on Score Stream, and you guys were behind against South Brunswick early in the game, right?
Yes.
Come back and beat them, didn't you? Down there on the turf.
Yeah, the turf, it's a different beast. Some kids get there and they're
But
like,
y'all
oh, wow.
had to come back and win, though, right?
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
That's awesome. I'm not a big turf fan. I'm so glad that I know you're a big fan of Carolina football. That Belichick came in, the first thing he did was get rid of the turf and go back to grass.
Well, I guess it just alleviates more injuries. I mean,
Yeah.
you can move better, cut, and everything on.
Obviously, the
regular grass.
advantage of turf, it can come a gully washer and you can still play.
Correct.
I'm hoping one day we will get the turf here in Oswego County over at the multi-purpose place they're going to do, over there in Williamsburg crossing area, that area over there, because we can get our jamboree back.
Absolutely.
I always enjoyed that. I know. Tell me what your thoughts are about the jamboree. From a coaching aspect, I can understand where some of the coaches didn't like it because you're limited time on the field. It's more of a show type thing. But they've always made the one down there at Wilmington work. The big jamboree they have down there.
Yeah, we
The
watched.
Battle of the Beach or
Yeah.
Clash of the Beach.
I've watched that a few times on YouTube and everything else, especially with teams that we might play throughout the season or
Right.
we are going to play that go down there. Being with the jamboree here, I thought it always worked out well. Obviously, you get 20 minutes, I think, per team.
They need to get a little more than that. I'm gonna try and
yes.
talk with when they set it back up about the schedule and see if we can get through the sports commission some coaches some input on how to get a little more time on the field. They were doing the double field,
Yes.
which is good because that gives you more time. If they were just doing everything single field, you'd never be off the field. It'd be a 6-hour thing, So if they could do it where you got 8 county teams if all participate, including Lejeune. They are technically within the bounds of the county. So you could do, you could still have probably 3 or 4 hours and have a little more time on the field. Is that something you'd like to see from the Jamboree, is a little more actual on the field time?
I mean, more film we get on us and other people, the better. I mean, we can break it down and see what we need to work on before the season officially starts. So
Who's your scrimmage in this year? You got that set up yet?
right now we're looking at Pender. Being this late of getting hired, finding coaches and everything else, and Eddie coaching over at Pender before as a little hookup. So they reached out and still because we got good communication and we like to keep that good standing with them for the near future.
Well, we talked about in the lobby earlier. I was talking with Coach Floyd about your days at Pender. You were under Tom Ean when he was coaching there his first stint. He left for maybe 4 or 5 years, somewhere in there?
He did. He went to Brandy's or Patton and Brandy's.
And then came back. He's down back at Pender now. He had that great run they had in 2010 where they beat Southwest in the Eastern Finals, then went on to play, we think Reedsville is the best I can remember, in the state championship. And, of course, Reedsville is – they're probably – I know Shelby likes to call themselves Title Town, but I think Reedsville's got them on the titles for football.
They do. They have more than anybody, I think.
I think the one that has the most actually is Robbinsville, but they haven't been relevant in the
I think
years.
it's Reedsville.
Is it Reedsville?
I believe it's still Reedsville.
Because I know when we went there one time, they had a ton of like the plywood signs up for each state championship team on the field. And it's intimidating right when you walk out and you see all those state championships.
Now,
over there,
last year
know?
you guys scrimmaged Jacksonville at Richlands, and I remember Chris was there. They were on.
Yeah, we
SMU
did a live
coverage.
broadcast that morning because you guys aren't doing Jacksonville this year?
We're probably not going to do it, all things considering. And I just want to keep the kids focused and not put more into, their old head coach going over there and everything else.
Right.
That makes
So
sense.
I want them to stay focused and not think about the outside stuff. And
And that's very similar to like Phil Paget for years had Coach Eason as his assistant. Then when he went to Northside, man, they tried like crazy once they weren't non-conference not to play each other just because of that. It's your buddy you're playing.
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
different thing. If you get a Friday morning practice though, and we're not doing like a Jacksonville Friday morning practice, we might try and do the same thing we did before. We love your field because you have an air conditioned press box.
we do.
So
we do. It's
that was
pretty
nice to do it there. Yeah, that comes into consideration when you're doing a morning scrimmage broadcast. So we'll look into that. Of course, Jacksonville has that too. So we'll have to see if Obviously, this is the station of the Cardinals. So if they have it, then we'll be doing that, of course. But if not, we'll be giving you a call and see. We're gonna take our second break. When we come back, we'll talk more Richlands Wildcat football here on Sports Talk. All right, welcome back to Sports Talk. I'm your host, Chris Raynor. Friday, July the 4th. I can't say it enough times. Happy birthday, America. I love living in this country. There's so many people that are making such a big fuss of a lot of things, but there's nowhere else I'd
Where are you
wanna be.
watching fireworks at? I hope you're not shooting fireworks at your house.
Oh, no. I know a guy that lives near the park, right across from the park. We just camp out in his yard. We get there early, camp out, wait for the traffic to deplete. Sometimes it takes till 11 o'clock at night. And then we just, leave.
Well, the
from there.
Rustic Barn's having fireworks this year.
Are they?
I don't know if I think this is their first year.
2-lane road coming. Well, that's a lot like Onzo Pines. Have you guys ever been to the park at Onzo Pines for the firework display?
I
Yeah, the one up
The
here.
traffic is
Yeah.
unreal because of, it's a 2-lane road both ways. You come off of 17 or 53.
And they're having some music and food trucks at
They
Rustic
are.
Barn's.
I assume it's like base, trying to get it
the
all
base.
off
Yeah,
base.
base you can't get on base.
Yeah,
Unless
no.
you have a pad.
The best thing if you're doing the base, if you got a boat, go out and watch it from the river. But a lot of people figured that out too. So the boat ramp is a little dicey coming in.
We did that a couple of years ago, and our boat wasn't as big as other boats, and we took on a lot of water. So
Did you?
absolutely, my wife wasn't happy about it.
That's not good.
The sun was flopping around like a fish at the
You
bottom
went
of
to
the boat.
SS Minnow, were you?
Almost, yeah.
A 3-hour tour and that's it. One year I saw right off of Hospital Point. This was before 9/11 years ago because I don't think they'll let you do it anymore. But people were shooting fireworks off their boats.
That's crazy.
And one boat beside us got some in the back. But remember the old red gas tanks that used to run boats?
Yes.
It's not like now we have most of the other tanks. Those red tanks you plugged in, sitting back there, and all those fireworks going off around that tank. And man, everybody just started because there was nothing you could do to help them. I weren't about to jump in that
Swansboro
boat.
has fireworks too, I believe.
Yeah, Swansboro does, and then of course the Beach had theirs last night. They always do theirs on July 3rd.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they always do theirs the night before. So next year, remember, July 3rd, go to the beach and see them. If you want to brave those bridges going on there, best thing to do is come down the north end by North Topsail, go as far as you can go, watch them in the air, and then be the first one to head out. But of course, the park will have them tonight, like you said, the base, Swansboro probably.
Yeah.
I don't think they do them downtown. They save that for the National Night Out thing.
Yeah, the
Just
Jackson
short
City,
after.
Jacksonville don't have any.
Yeah, I don't think they have
fireworks, no.
anything.
No.
So there's plenty of displays around. Looking forward to our big anniversary next year for our country. Let's jump back into Wildcat football. Give us all the teams in your conference, at one time. We've talked, I think, about most of them, but give us them all at one time. What'll be the new, I guess, the Coastal, 4A, 5A?
5A.
5A. No 6As? All 5As?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Swansboro.
Swansboro.
The
6A.
Coastal 5A, 6A.
They're our
Yeah.
last game, so we have at Southwest first game. We're at White Oak. Then we play home the next 3 games: East Duplin, South Brunswick, and Havelock. We travel north side. That 7th week we get a bye, and then Croton at home, at West Carteret, at Dixon, and then we play Swansboro at home.
So all familiar ones except, Havelock, of course, has not been on the schedule a lot. But, I mean, you know about the team from the area. But even Northside, you guys played them non-conference some, didn't you?
We did
The
not.
past years, maybe not. Okay.
No.
So is this the first time you played Northside since the old days when they were in the same conference
Yes,
years ago?
sir.
Wow. So it's going to make for some strange bedfellows, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, who's your top returning players coming back?
Top returning players. We got the speedy Tyler Clowart on the outside.
He is fast.
He is really fast.
Are you going to make him quarterback and be like the old game we all used to play that we can't say the name of? Give him the ball and just let him run until he gets tackled.
No, we're gonna try to do a little bit more with him. Keep him on the outside.
He's not
obviously.
real big,
No,
but he's fast.
He is. He's really strong though for being as small as he is. We have a few key returners on defense as well. Some of our linebackers, DBs. JT Bratcher was a staple at outside linebacker for us. We're going to have to replace a bunch of linebackers and defensive linemen
Yep.
with people like Marcus Springhoover and Samaj Thompson graduating. But we got young guys that are going to fill the spots pretty good.
How was your JV team last year?
JV, they were for the amount of coaches they had with Eddie and 1 or 2 other coaches, they were phenomenal. I thought they did a great job down there. But Eddie did as good as he could with the amount of coaches that he was
And
given.
a lot of people don't realize that when the varsity coaches are, you got several coaches now. Back in the day, it might have been 2 or 3 years ago. Then they started realizing that the more you get, the better you are. But JV, a lot of times, is just a couple of guys. You know, most times, and maybe couple extra helping, but most times it's 2 or 3 coaches, and that's about it.
An injury bug jumped on us last year. When it took out our starting quarterback, and then it took out our next 2 quarterbacks. Then we were playing quarterback with people who hadn't first year ever playing football.
Yeah. So who's going to be the quarterback for varsity? Have you covered that one yet, or is that still in the works?
We got some front runners. Senior, he played a little bit last year behind Caleb Simcoe. Played a little one receiver, Kel Wilgus. But we're trying out a few different options.
Speaking of options, what's the offense going to be this year?
Yeah,
Sticking with the option.
yeah, maybe not in the shotgun version, but
Not
a
the pistol,
variation.
more of a-
Yes.
All right, we got to take our last break. We got a shorter segment there. When we come back, we're going to finish up. We're going to do This Day in Sports.
Sorry.
And, of course, some more Richlands Wildcat football. Be right back on Sports Talk. Hey, welcome back to Sports Talk. I'm your host, Chris Raynor. Friday, July the 4th. Happy birthday, America. I can't get too tired of saying that right there.
Happy about that.
I am. I love our country, man.
You're retired, so it's not like you get a day off or anything.
Oh, that just gives me more time to put up flags out in front of the property and stuff for holidays and stuff. I love it. I'm a flag guy. I'm a patriot guy. If people don't like it, stop listening. I don't care.
That's right.
The July the 4th Independence Day version of sports, This Day in Sports History. I'm thinking there's probably going to be some Wimbledon here. I haven't looked, but it's usually around this time. We'll start out in 1905. The Baseball Hall of Fame pitchers Rube Waddell from the A's and Cy Young for Boston. I've heard of that Cy Young guy before, haven't you?
Yep.
They had a matchup in a 20-inning classic. Philadelphia won 4-2. Nowadays, they both would have been pulled in the 4th inning because of a 100 pitch count. 20 innings they both went and both pitched full games. That's crazy, isn't it? All right.
Hey, 1910 fight of the century. Jack Johnson beats James J. Jeffries by TKO in 15 in Reno, Nevada, to retain his world heavyweight boxing title.
All right, we were 10 years into the century at that time. I think there's a couple of others that probably transplanted that as the fight of the century. The Tyson-Buster Douglas fight. Down goes Frazier, whoever he was fighting in that one. I would think that one's probably up there too. The Thrilla in Manila,
Yep.
Rumble in the Jungle. There was a bunch of them back then. All right, Coach.
All right.
1939.
In 1939, Lou Gehrig is the first Major League Baseball player to have his number 4 retired on his appreciation day at a Yankee Stadium. Makes iconic luckiest man speech.
And that's one of those moments that I've told people before. We're 25 years into this century, but the previous century, there's a video that ESPN did set to Dream On by Aerosmith. It's one of the best sports videos you'll ever watch of all the moments of the 20th century. Yeah, because they're always one behind. The 1900s of the 20th century. So the best stuff of the 20th century. I'll send you all the link.
Okay.
You need to
Cool.
watch it. It's pretty cool. But that's one of the moments. They'll do some sound bites in there of some of the things you'll hear, like Down Goes Frazier, and I consider myself the luckiest man. You know, the things that you've heard before that are just, they're legendary, you know? All right, Coach.
All right, 1960, Yankees outfielder Mickey Mantle hits a 3-run homer versus Washington, 18th Major League Baseball player to hit 300 home runs.
I'm curious how many there are now with the steroid era, and I'd say there are a lot more because you had a lot of them in the jacked up era that probably, in my opinion, I don't recognize Bonds.
Well, 300
all-time home
runs
run.
now. 300 home runs doesn't get you in the Hall of Fame.
Right, but what
That
I'm
ain't
saying is
nothing,
back
no.
then there was only 18 at the time. Yeah. Am I next? Okay.
Yep.
In 1965, U.S. Open women's golf in Atlantic City Country Club, Carol Mann wins by 2 shots from fellow American Kathy Cornelius. Not a whole lot of discussion there.
Yeah, hey, 1975 Wimbledon women's tennis. Billie Jean King outlasts Yvonne Goolagong 6-0, 6-1 for her 6th Wimbledon singles title.
And I'm glad you got that name because not
Wimbledon.
many people remember Goolagong.
I don't know.
But it is like it sounds, Goolagong, yeah.
Yep.
All right, Coach Floyd.
All right. 1980, Nolan Ryan, Houston Astros. Fans, Reds, Cesar Geronimo to become the 4th pitcher to 3,000 Major League Baseball strikeouts.
And I think that might be one of the Major League Baseball records that is the safest of not falling. 5,000 some strikeouts by Nolan Ryan. Nobody's going to touch that anymore because of the way they pitch. You know, they don't pitch as long. They don't pitch as many innings in a game. More days rest. Nolan Ryan, 5,000, almost 6,000 strikeouts. That's pretty tough. In my opinion, he's in the top 5 in the GOAT of all time in Major League Baseball. Probably maybe the only pitcher because, you know, when you consider greatest of all time, most times it's not a pitching position. But I think he's right there with him.
Definitely.
Most definitely.
All right, Coach.
1982, Wimbledon men's tennis. In an All-American Classic final, Jimmy Connors beats John McEnroe 3-6, 6-3, 6-7, 7-6, 6-4 for his 2nd and final Wimbledon title.
I'm showing my age, but I remember that final because it was on the 4th of July, and you had 2 Americans in it. It was just such a special thing. That was back. It was on a Sunday morning, and you watched it, you know, on NBC. But nowadays, I don't know when the last time I sat down and watched tennis. Maybe if we're playing, you know, in the Olympics for country, I might would watch it. But other than that, it's just not a lot to it.
Pickleball's more popular than
It is.
tennis
You're right
right
about
now.
that, yeah. As actual playing sport there. In 1987, the Wimbledon women's tennis, Martina Navratilova earns her 7th Wimbledon singles title with a 7-5, 6-3 win over Steffi Graf.
1994 FIFA World Cup. Abito strike saves Brazil from embarrassment. Beat USA 1-0 at Stanford.
So would that have been that big of an embarrassment for the USA to beat Brazil back then? I guess so.
Yeah.
See, they say Steve Goodson and all them say I don't know anything about soccer. I know about soccer. I know about Chelsea.
Football.
I know she
That's the
plays
real
for some
football.
team over there overseas, you know. And I know about Man City United, and I just combine them all. It makes my soccer buddies mad when I do all that. Did you have the FIFA one?
I did.
All right, Coach Floyd.
All right. 1995, Birmingham Barracudas, based in Alabama, play first CFL game beating Winnipeg 38-10, but failed experiment only last 1 season.
Okay, I'm seeing a lot of holes in this right here, and I'm seeing why it probably failed. the Birmingham Barracudas playing in the CFL. Did the CFL ever have American teams other than?
That 1 year it says 1995.
But why would you pick Birmingham? That's a long way to
Long
come
way
from,
to
from Canada.
Yeah.
I started to say Canada.
I guess
from
it's
Canada.
because Birmingham doesn't have an NFL team. I don't know.
But can you imagine? You're up in Canada. It's nice and cool, low humidity. You hop on a plane to fly down to Birmingham, Alabama, in August. Anyway,
Wouldn't
that's
be
probably
doing
why
that
it
now
failed.
with all the restrictions and everything.
Yeah, I imagine that's why it's failed. Probably.
Yeah.
Doesn't CFL play 12 players?
They used to, and they played on a field that was 100.
120 yards. I think.
120.
Yeah, it had longer.
I thought
And-
they had 12 players.
Yeah.
They might have.
And
And
they could approach the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think the goalposts are still on the goal line,
they are.
which
Yeah.
is a nightmare. Crossing route, that would just ruin your day, wouldn't it? All right, Coach.
All right, 2009 Wimbledon women's tennis. Serena Williams beats older sister Venus 7-6, 6-2 for her third Wimbledon singles title.
They're a pretty famous family. I think their dad did pretty well raising them to play tennis.
Absolutely.
All right, in 2022, the Minnesota Twins turned the first 8-5 triple play in Major League Baseball history as center fielder Byron Buxton makes a catch and third baseman Gio Urshela tags one runner out in the base path and doubles off another runner by tagging. That's a lot to explain. Tagging second base against the White Sox. Normally, what you would hear of a triple play is a line shot to third. He steps on the bag and gets the other guy that was running. You know, it's just one of those things that doesn't happen a lot. Now, an around the horn triple play, you ever seen that before?
Oh yeah.
Very rare. Like you
Yeah.
got a runner on first and second. Of course, a ground ball real fast to the third baseman, steps on the bag second and then first. That's a rarer, but it's cool to see if you ever see it. You got to whip it around, and it helps to have a slow batter too. You know, it's tying up the end of the turn there. But it's funny with the Ospreys. We had the Jacksonville Ospreys crowd on last Friday, and the Ospreys had a stretch there of 2 games where we could not hit our way of a wet paper sack. Got down and had the bases loaded several times, and I'm like, I don't think I've ever wanted a triple play worse than we did in those games. They needed it. I mean, no outs and just the bases loaded. They've stabilized and doing a lot better, but man, that stretch was 39-10 in 2 games.
Jeez.
And they were 11-1 coming in. It's funny how in baseball it's all about
Momentum.
right now. Yeah. Same thing with that's this day in sports. We're going to transition back to high school football, Wildcat football coming up. Momentum's everything, isn't it? Have you ever seen a game where a team was just coasting off into the sunset, and then all of a sudden something happened and you flip a switch?
I have multiple times. I mean, it's that slight shift.
Yeah.
One thing goes. I mean, because these kids are young. They're high schoolers. I mean, they're worried about what they're doing after the game. Some of them rather than in the game.
Yeah.
You know, who they're going to talk to is mom, dad looking at me. You know, girlfriend, whatever. So one little mistake for one teams could be drastic.
Not to mention a bad injury, like especially at quarterback.
Absolutely.
You're just talking about your JV team was down there, their 4th guy.
Or an injury period when we played Southwest. The kid broke his ankle from
Yeah.
Southwest. 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then that momentum shift that we
Yeah.
had, it shifted theirs because our kids were just sitting there.
Well, it's so funny when you talk about momentum. The game where Richlands broke the streak 3 years ago, it was just one of those tense games where nobody could score. All defense.
7-0,
And I don't know if you
maybe?
remember the play. Yeah, I think, well,
The
it got to
6-6.
that, but I think you may remember the play in like the second quarter or something. It's just so tense, and both teams don't want to make a mistake. A kid from Southwest steps in front of a pass and has nobody between him and the end zone. And it would have made it 7-0, and he dropped it. And then it's like you flip the switch. Richlands scored on that drive, went ahead and scored. And then the second half, Southwest just got it rolling and was just steamrolling, scored to make it 7-6, and decided to kick the extra point. It was blocked. And I think the final score was 7-6, wasn't it?
It was. It
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
So it's all about momentum and what's going on right there.
That's why, I mean, last year we had a little bit more better lead, and we won by
Yeah,
a little
28
bit
to nothing
more.
was, yeah. It wasn't, I
You
don't think it
know,
was it
so,
wasn't much of a barn
you
burner.
know,
that
I
game.
like to see those more often than
Yeah.
the 7-6. You know, really brings out my gray hair and my beard and my head, and you know, so
Those aren't gray hairs; those are platinum highlights.
That's-
yeah.
Broke
Yeah,
the East
that's-
Dukeland streak too. You hadn't beat them in a long time too.
We-
Beat them at
And
home.
we looked that up. That's the first time ever that I think Southwest has beaten Richlands and East Duke in the same year. Because Southwest only goes back to like
I mean, Richlands
77.
beat Southwest and East.
What did I
Dukeland.
say?
You had it
South,
backwards.
yeah.
That's his roots.
You know what
That's
I mean?
okay.
I know. Freudian slip there. It's the first year that Richlands had ever beat Southwest, and did I say it right that time?
East Steuben,
And East
yeah.
Steuben the same year. Because, Southwest only goes back to 77. So all I had to do was look back to then, and it was easier to find. But, they had a great start to the year and rolling, and looking forward to you guys getting it rolling this year. Are you excited?
I am. I'm very
It's a
excited.
big challenge, but I know you're excited.
It is. As an assistant coach, you know everything has to be done, but you're not involved in all the decision making and everything else. So I try to lean on the assistant coaches and the ones that I know have been around the game a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And the community involvement. We have great moms like Angie Saunders, Trish, and a few others that are willing to do all that extra stuff to deal with parents and take some stuff off our plate. And people like John Anderson that he said, I don't have to coach. I can do a behind the scenes thing. I was like, nah, you're more to our program than X's and O's, but I still want you as long as you want to come out and yell at the boys and coach them up. And, I saw him there sweating. I was like, John, you need to sit down and get some water, bud.
Yeah.
Like,
It's hot.
so
So you are in the middle of summer workouts now. What are the dead periods coming up?
we are in a dead period this week until July 6th. Then we have practice the week of the 7th and 14th. And then the 21st.
There's one more right before the practice,
21st.
right? Yeah.
Have you done any team camps this summer?
We did the FCA camp.
Okay.
We did that the last 4 years.
There's a lot of teams getting that.
Where
It's
was
a good
that
thing.
at? Barton
It-
College?
No, it used to be at Mount Olive, but the last 2 years has been at Wesleyan.
Weston, okay.
Which one did you like better, Mount Olive or Wesleyan?
Mount Olive.
Yeah.
Well, it's Mount Olive because of the cafeteria was bigger and everything like that.
Logistics wise.
But
And closer.
yeah,
Yeah, closer. That's
Clo-
true.
absolutely yes. But Wesleyan, they did a real good job this year and everything. I mean, it's weather. The FCA staff did great of, updating schedules and this and that and accommodating us. So the kids look forward to it outside of the football aspect, but they get to see different teams that we don't play and different types of athletes throughout Eastern North Carolina. So it was a good camp.
The Richlands community, you talking about them earlier, Chris, it's pretty amazing. They do a fifth quarter on Friday night home football games. And then their homecoming parade, I couldn't believe how many people showed up for that.
Oh, it's crazy. It's one of those things that, we love the parade, but at the same time, as a football team,
Yeah.
we
Any distraction.
sit there and then ride around and then, hey, hurry up. We're the first ones. We go on, put all the kids on the fire trucks.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to get off, get set, get ready,
Yeah.
and transition their mind.
Who's homecoming this year, do you know?
It is, I just had it pulled up.
Swansboro, I'll bet you. Is that-
Croatan.
Croatan.
It is Croatan. So,
Well, there's a reason why a lot of coaches try to schedule, and I'm not saying Croatan is, but this is your first year, you had to get what you could get. But there's a reason why a lot of coaches will try and schedule a cupcake for homecoming week. Them kids are thinking about everything but football.
Well,
Well,
it's kind of hard,
Spirit
too,
Week
because
and-
you're in conference play.
Yeah.
exactly right. I mean, when I first got here, it was Havelock.
Woo!
We were 3A before we dropped down 2A and back up 3A, and that's what I asked someone. I'm like, hey, why Havelock? And they're like, well, Bill, that's because that's the team we play the hardest. So my mouth opened. I looked at him. I'm like, okay, well, I guess we'll see this year. So
There was one team. I remember when years ago Dixon had a long streak of losing, and Coach Kelly Davis has got them, playing really good the last few years, and some of the other coaches, Ray Swanee, has got them, But years ago they had a bad streak going, and I remember one of their coaches saying, "We've been more homecomings this year than the prom queens have," because they were everybody's homecoming back then. But most of the county schools are on the uptick, I would think. I think things are, starting to progress. Jacksonville has been probably the top dog in the county the last, 5 years or so. Been to state championship game and some other things, and just a good program going there. But I look forward this year to all the county teams. The main thing I missed about that jamboree was the coaches thing. Did you ever go to one of those with one of the head coaches?
I used to do the
wing eating
competition.
Did you win?
I was close. I think I should have won. I think the judges were.
Were they
on a technical-
were
They
they
were,
counting
yes.
gristle and all that stuff or something?
They said all down to the bone, and you got to swallow it before they counted it. And You know, I took it
I
to
remember
heart.
the one you were talking about across from City Hall over there at the building.
Yes, correct.
Because when I saw the guy from Jacksonville taking the wings and going like that, I'm like, you guys are in trouble. He wasn't even eating them like this. He was just off the end.
Yeah, it was something else to see grown men do that to a chicken
Yeah.
bone, you know. So
Yeah.
and
you know when he's doing that, he's eating the whole gristle and
Oh, yeah.
everything, the joint and yeah. Anyway, and they were hot wings too. They weren't.
no, they were.
They were a little spicy. They weren't
were,
bad.
they
They
were.
were like buffalo.
It wasn't a meal for sure. It was just something to
it
fill
was
your
just,
gut up
yeah,
and don't
a
throw up.
competition. It was a bragging rights.
That's right.
But we're hoping they can get that back probably in the next. As soon as they get that facility built. Sorry, I hiccup here from drink too much Dr Pepper. The stuff they'll get from the multipurpose facility once they get that turf field, which in my opinion that's the only thing a turf field is good for, is something like that, because you can have it right after it pours. You know, UNCW baseball just switched to turf. I don't know if you keep up with college baseball, but it's one of those, you've seen it with the stripes on it and everything, and it just looks like, I mean, it's not baseball to me. It looks like you're at putt-putt golfing games or something. And I like the grass field whenever possible. Up north, obviously, you got places where there's snow on the ground all year. You have to do it, but whenever you can play on grass, play on grass. They make it work in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I think they can do it everywhere else.
Well, you take the.
Yeah, you know any of the rule changes for high school football this year?
Anything significant coming up?
Not that I've read about yet.
I heard the mercy rule is now 35, not 42.
Okay.
I did hear that for basketball and football.
That's
I think that passed.
Okay.
Have you
that's-
ever heard of a mercy rule game where the team come back and won?
I have not.
Because you can't stop it once it starts.
it
Say
goes.
you were to come back and get within 7 points, that clock's still running. That's my only thing. I think there needs to be a provision if it does happen. Because say they had the mercy rule in the NFL back in whatever the year was, where Buffalo and the Houston Oilers were playing. Houston was up 38-3 at halftime in a playoff game. It's over. The former quarterback at the Panthers and the coach, Frank Reich, comes in, engineers a comeback, and they win. Well, what if you had the mercy rule and that game never got... I'm just not a big fan of the mercy rule. I think there's other ways to do it. I don't know.
I mean, damn if you do, damn if you don't.
You're
I mean,
right. And you've seen those
so-
games where, you know, people are just praying for the end. So I can see it, but I just think there needs to be a provision that say the comeback was the start. That you could, you know, say you got under 20 points, stop it then or something.
I'm gonna slow it down within
Yeah.
14 points or whatever. I mean, it's just
Let's
one of those
just
things.
go to the Elam ending. That would be
What's that?
cool. You haven't seen the that TBT tournament they do in the summer?
What's TBT?
The basketball league or something. I forgot.
Oh, no.
But they.
Oh, yeah, that 3-on-3 thing they do?
No, it's 5-on-5. But they.
Is
they
it
get-
NBA?
No, it's former NBA players.
Oh, I didn't know
former
that.
college players.
That
They
sounds
put
pretty cool.
Teams together. Well, I think they get to like 5 minutes left in the game. They turn the clock off and then they pull a random total number to hit, and that's when the game's over. Called the
That's
Elam ending.
crazy. Yeah, everybody would love that, I'm sure. It's like I've been lobbying for a 4-point shot from beyond half court.
Yeah. Okay.
Steph Curry would just be shooting like jumpers,
yeah.
though. Yeah, he would have more 4-pointers than anybody in history. While we're on basketball, a couple weeks ago, the East Coast Invitational wrapped up their 24th year. So this coming year, not only our 250th birthday as a country, but the 25th anniversary of the East Coast
It is.
Invitational. Give us a little recap of the East Coast.
Well, our Onslow County team struggled a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think we had any of them making the championship bracket. Charlotte Independence won the championship bracket.
yeah.
I don't believe they lost a game.
And they-
Richlands had to start out with.
Yeah, that's who Richlands played.
And
we had our
Independence won by like 30 in their championship game, too.
No, they didn't win that.
What was that much?
No, they beat Washington in the finals.
Okay.
They won by about 20, 25. You could tell they were really good. Our local team struggled a little bit, as you probably would expect. Our White Oak lost a ton of kids.
Yeah.
Swansboro lost a ton of kids off their team. We had Richlands and Dixon were there.
Jacksonville lost a bunch. I mean, Southwest lost a bunch of seniors. too.
Southwest did same. Yeah, so all our and Northside won a couple games, and but hey, it's a great 4 days. Kids get to play a lot of basketball. I mean, every team played at least 8 games.
Yeah.
That's
we had some
good.
good turnout. We had Jamie Lucky and his group of officials there. So first year ever that I've been involved with since the beginning. I didn't get any issues with officials. They were all on time, the right gym, went pretty smooth. We just
Oh yeah, you guys did a great. It was seamless, and there was a lot of good officiating.
all
there
the
too.
games
Yeah.
you can go back and if you want to go watch some of the local teams play, you can go back. They archive them on the website. And all the games were live streamed. You were doing some of the live
I
streams.
broadcasted several of the games, and if you'll listen to my game, it was one of the Farmville Central games. I can't remember who they were playing, but the Farmville Central grandma in my ear right to my left, I've never heard a grandmother with language like this grandma had.
Oh, yeah.
Bless her heart.
Try
She
being a
is-
referee.
I can imagine, but
get that
because
the
she
whole
was,
time.
and I noticed her, she was keeping, she had a napkin there, was keeping the score on the napkin,
yeah.
like every 2
Oh, yeah.
points. Because as you've seen, sometimes at the East Coast, the scorekeeping is not the best in the world. Like
They're volunteers.
Yeah, they're volunteers, but I'll look up and I'll notice that it went on the wrong team, and nobody seems to catch it. Not this lady, buddy. Grandma was keeping track of every. They must have had a game where they lost a point or something because she was keeping track of everything. But anything else? Any other takes?
No, it was
obviously
good.
shout out to Wells Gulledge
Wells
and his
Gulledge
crew
and
for
yeah,
all they
a great
did.
job.
there.
Like I say, it was a tiring 4 days, but it was pretty awesome. It's going to be interesting to see how our basketball next year is. But, you know,
Yeah.
it's hard to tell in the summer because there's some guys out. Glenn Kellum, Richlands coach, told me he had a couple of football guys somewhere.
They were
They
practicing.
were, no, they were. I don't know where they were for football, but they
Bill-
didn't
Bill
play.
had 'em on
They
the
didn't play
practice field.
basketball.
Yeah, we were at the FCA camp.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Probably, yeah, that's true. Because that's right. I keep forgetting that they do it in platoons now. There's like several different
They have 3 different
sessions.
But
yeah.
since we're talking about basketball, did you watch the NBA draft last week? Did you see 3 of the top 10 were Duke players?
That shocks me, actually.
NBA, not me.
No, not that. It's the fact they still have the NBA.
Oh, okay. Come
No
on.
kidding. I'm being a smart buddy. Yeah, I know. Obviously, Wonder
Flag.
Boy there was first.
Cooper
Cooper Flag, and then that Kapalapa. What's his name? Kinda
Malachi.
No,
No,
the other guy.
Con Knipple.
Yeah.
Con Knipple was
Con
third.
Knipple.
Well, he was fourth. Oh, Hornets finally picked a good one.
Any name with the
He's
name
going with the
Nipple in
Hornets.
it is going to be a funny name to pronounce.
He's gone to the Hornets, so
He's
maybe the
gone to the
Hornets
Hornets.
can at one time make the playoffs.
They
They're-
need
they've
more.
been pretty
They need
bad.
more than one player.
They got 4
Yeah.
kids, so maybe things turn around in Charlotte.
We've talked about it on here several times. I'm a big Carolina Hurricanes fan. Only North Carolina team, professional team to win a world title. Panthers are second in the state because they went to 2 Super Bowls and actually could have won both of them. Just things happen. Hurricanes ain't even. I mean, the Hornets ain't even got a sniff.
No.
I don't think they've ever been past the second round.
And then your Tar Heels only had 1 kid drafted. That was Drake Powell. He went 22nd.
We don't have players to get drafted. We have players to win games.
Yeah, okay.
They didn't do a lot of that last year either. did they?
And your boy R.J. Davis didn't even get drafted.
Is he still playing?
He made more money in college than in the NBA. That's crazy the way
That's
that
the way
yeah.
the whole setup is.
He made over $1 million his senior year at Carolina, but he didn't get drafted at NBA. But
Any other locals get drafted that we know of? Was the first round just Duke and Carolina for from the ACC?
don't
remember
I don't remember anybody else.
I did see a little blurb on. I was joking about the NBA thing.
Well,
I'm
actually,
just not a huge NBA fan.
A transfer that was going to go to Duke, but he stayed in the NBA draft. He went 11th. Coward. He was from Washington State, but no other.
Why didn't he go to Duke? Is he a coward? Sorry.
Because he's going to
who
make
was-
$1 million at the.
Now I
NBA.
did see most of what I see of the NBA is on Facebook posts. The kid that got drafted by somewhere and was not happy about it.
Oh, that's Ace Bailey.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Said he
listening
really
to the
showed his
wrong
butt.
people. Well,
Well,
he
the
said
thing is, you get drafted by who drafts you.
he said he didn't want to go to Utah. He didn't want to
That's
go to this
what it was.
school. I mean, Utah said, "Heck with you.
Eli Manning, huh?
We're grabbing you."
Yep, that's
So,
it.
so it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out.
Yeah, money usually talks, so we'll see how it goes. Hollywood has left us, and it's time to end up. So I'll start going through the sponsors. If we get through it and Hollywood hasn't trickled back in, then we'll go until 10, 11 o'clock. Who knows? 11, 12 o'clock. All right, I want to thank our sponsors here, National Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, the Jacksonville Ospreys, of course, as they continue finishing out their season. Couple more weekends of games coming up for the Ospreys, so make sure you go out to the Nest and check out the Ospreys. CNS Paint, Ron Choate and Victor Case. Golden Corral, Mr. Billy Sewell. Rock Creek Golf and Country Club. Jones Onzo EMC, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative. Jones LP Gas, located in Verona. I don't know if they're doing it today with 4th, if they're open or not, but every Friday they have propane cylinder refills for $11. Southern Touch Painting, that's Roger Carroll in the gang. Fountain Management, Miss Sandra Fountain. Onzo County Motor Company, Ben Beasley in the gang. Barnes Diamond Gallery, that's Miss Lindsay Jarman. Go over there for anything you need jewelry-wise, fixed or sold or whatever. Lane Associates Family Dentistry, Drs. Tommy and Kim Morgan. Bartley Insurance Services, Bill Mercer. And, of course, the great Humphrey family over there at Humphrey Heating and Air Conditioning. Thank them. I also want to thank Onzo County Motor Company for our racing report and our Osprey report, Down East Heating and Air. Jason Humphrey and the gang for doing that. Jason's the one that gave me the tip about getting a couple weeks about getting the crap out of my drain line from my air conditioner. It stopped dripping, and it's just that stuff that builds up in there, the sludge. Take a shot back, get a little suction, and just make sure you don't have the dry part in it because it'll be ugly and wet when it comes through. And thanks to Helen's Kitchen and Billy Grissett for feeding our Sports Talk crew. Thank you guys for being with us. Coach Bill Good, Coach Eddie Floyd, John Floyd, Eddie, John A. whatever we call it. Look forward to you guys having a great season. I hope you win every game after the first one.
Well,
Would
that's
you take 9-1 right now?
I don't know. I
You-
don't know.
no, you
I
wanna
mean,
be 10-0,
I don't know.
don't you?
I heard as long as I win the Southwest one, I'm locked in for another year or two.
You
Nah,
got
man.
that contract extension.
That's right.
I think most coaches
More
right
NIL
now
money.
with Onslow County football right now, every coach in the county would say 9-1. I'll take it.
Well, he does
Right
have a
now.
new principal this year. Mr. Clark retired.
Oh, Steve Clark retired.
He is.
Yes.
He is. So we
Wow.
have Mr. Nelson Blair.
Okay.
So
Now who's your booster president? Is it still Pete Smith? Pete retired.
over
Miss
at
Brinson.
Century Club, it's
Miss
yeah,
Brinson.
Miss Brinson.
Miss Brinson,
We
okay.
got a whole new crew over there. There's some older, familiar faces, but
Okay.
some of the younger crowd took over. They have kids that play sports there.
Well, I'm gonna do this with every coach that comes in. We're gonna have every coach from the county coming in sometime over the summer. We hope.
Okay.
Lejeune's always a little dicey getting them, but
They
we'll
have a
try.
new
Hired
coach
a new
again.
coach.
I know that's the thing. You never knew who to call each year, but support your booster club at your high school. They're the ones that get you guys the stuff you need, help supplement the stuff that the schools can't pay for. So your Century Club there at Richlands, if you're a Richlands fan, they have signs for sale, concessions that need help with. Support your booster club because they support your kids.
Are you doing new helmets this year or sticking with the R?
He says he's going with the yellow, but he's doing the Wildcat logo, right?
Yeah, we're gonna do a little bit different.
I'm sorry, gold.
Yes,
That's
athletic gold.
Yes.
I got it's Richlands athletic gold. It's not yellow.
It's not yellow.
No.
It's gold.
But yeah, we're probably gonna do more of the Wildcat.
Like
head.
the logo on your hat?
No, he's the one where the cat head where it
The
comes
cat
back.
head.
Oh,
where it
okay.
goes
Oh, yeah.
down.
Like
Oh,
on the center of our basketball
Yeah,
floor.
yeah, oh, yeah.
So trying to not do the same thing as the previous two coaches, but at the same time, trying to keep it, Richlands and Wildcats.
I like the R2 though. I like either one. That I always used to like the block R.
Well, that's
Remember
what.
the big one?
We were
Yeah.
talking about that for shirts and stuff. Going back, giving the old
Yeah.
block one.
I like your
Like that
golf
one he's
shirt,
got
the
right there,
lands.
yeah.
I like that. That'd look cool on the side of the helmet.
Yeah, that's what a lot of times, some of the younger people and everything, they come up with the stuff and everything. And I saw this, I was like, this is great. I like that.
I like it.
So
And a lot of the younger ones want the new type stuff like the city jerseys for NBA has with a different name and stuff. But you got to be careful because you got to make sure everybody can know what it is.
What's the full uniform cost now for our players? You have any idea? I know it's got to be up over
Oh, the
$1,000
helmet's the most
The helmet-
expensive.
the helmet's
one.
Almost $1,500
yeah,
for a helmet. Oh my
for
gosh!
the full
for the uniform.
Full-
The helmet's
full
probably
uniform, yeah.
between 5 and 7, isn't it? One helmet.
It's well, they get new helmets all the time. This one's new and approved. This is more impact, with the concussions and everything else. It's not like we used to play through. Shake your head.
Do you have
close
those
one eye.
shells that I've seen them practice with?
The Guardian shells?
Guardian cap.
Yeah, we don't have them yet. We've talked in the last couple of years of trying to get some just for the kids and everything. So
It seemed wild for me to actually see them in games. Well, like college and pros, can use them now.
it's weird. We're trying to upgrade and
It looks like a
get,
bobblehead.
get rid of our bucket helmets.
Right, turn for the camera real quick. You keep talking though.
So getting the most new and approved and safest helmet
Yeah.
on every kid that wants to come out and play.
Well, talking about the Land's nickname, it all goes back to like the city type thing that the NBA started doing. I was doing the East Coast Invitational, and South Mecklenburg was the team supposed to be on my court. Well, I get out there, and there's a team that says Park Road on their jerseys. And so we start scrounging, figured there'd been a change, look for Park Road rosters. I was at halftime before some lady comes over. Somebody at home had been listening, called her and said, tell him that we are Park Road. We're South Meck. Well, I'm like, you might want to tell people that. I don't know that South Mecklenburg High School is located on Park Road.
That's
So
right.
we were calling them the Park Road whoever until we got a roster. But anyway,
Just
you
like
just
White
got
Oak
to be
is the
careful.
oak.
Yeah, you want to be careful that people understand who you are,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
identification.
But everybody knows whose lands. It is.
Ashley Mosley has rolled in.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate
Hit
it,
dog
sir.
good right now. Hit Wildcat.
I guess that's who.
The head Wildcat.
That's right.
Hey, you're doing well. How are you?
Hey, happy July 4th there, Ashley.
Well, thank you, buddy.
Happy birthday, America. We're going to leave it with that. We've already thanked our sponsors. Thank you, Hollywood, for doing what you do. Thank you, Ashley, for doing what you do. Thank you, guys. Good luck with your upcoming
I appreciate
season.
it. Thanks, sir.
Happy birthday, United States of America. We'll see you next Friday.